Hi guys, it's Bia and I'm here to discuss whether or not we are too big for the rides at Universal Studios. So I went about a week and a half ago for my birthday and I had done quite a bit of research beforehand on whether or not I would be too big for the rides, and honestly I had really bad anxiety about it. I was totally stressed out. But fortunately, with some of my research, I had realized that they do have the tester seats out front and that I would need to take advantage of those. So to start off, I am about a 2X on top and about a 22 on bottom. I am pretty heavy chested and I also have a very low hanging belly with wide hips. So both of those things were definitely concerns of mine since they have the rides that go over and that need to latch in this way and also the lap bars. So I actually have a list of the rides that I went on or tried to go on. And the very first one I went on was Escape from Gringotts. And I did try this tester seat out front, as did my mother, whom I was with. I got the blue light, although it was tight, but I remembered again from the research that the back seats tend to be a little bigger and more forgiving. So I was hoping to get on one of those seats. My mother, who is smaller than me, got on and she was not able to get it to the blue light. And the biggest reason that is because they have a plastic bar that goes by your knees. And so if you are unable to get that past your knees, then you won't be able to fit on the ride. And that doesn't always have to do with people being tall, because my mother's only 5'2". It could also have to do with mobility issues or things like that, which was, I believe, her case. Still, I encouraged her to go through the experience with me for Gringotts because I had heard that it was so much fun and it was really beautiful and entertaining and exciting. So I encouraged her to come with me, and she did, and she enjoyed herself. And then right after the elevator is where she would depart and anybody else who wasn't getting on the ride would depart. I continued on to get on the ride because, again, I had gotten the blue light, the go-ahead, and fortunately I was placed in the back seat. So I kind of got, a little weight lifted off my shoulders. Well, I get in, I pull it over, I am fully secure in, I can't move, while the gentleman, and I use that term very loosely, comes up to me and he's like, scoot forward, you need to scoot forward. And I'm trying, but like I said, I am in there fully secure. Like, I don't have an inch of room to move. And so he explains to me that there needs to be a little green tab that pops out down by your feet in order to get the go-ahead. Mine was not popping out. So I explained to him, I was like, that's weird because I did it outside on the tester seats and I got the go-ahead, so I don't know what's going on. His response is, I don't know what to tell you, sorry. I'm like, oh, sweet of you. Very nice, thank you, appreciate that. And then he asks them to raise the bars in the back seat. So I'm thinking he's asking so I could try to like readjust and move down and scoot about and get more comfortable. No, he's like, you need to get off, you need to leave. I'm like, you're the nicest person I ever met, thank you. So I get off, clearly upset. And I completely understand that it is a safety issue. I understand that 100%, let me put that out there. But my thing is that there was a very, very small child next to me who should not have been on that ride. They measured him against the minimum height limit, and he was about a half an inch to an inch too short to be on there. His green tab also did not pop out. I looked down the line of mine. His father's popped out, his did not, mine did not. He wasn't asked to get off the ride, and I can't help but wonder if it had anything to do with our sizes, because again, he was a very tiny, petite little boy. I clearly am none of those things. So that is my biggest problem with that. If it was a safety issue for me, why was it not a safety issue for that small child? Don't know. Still, I went to customer service and I filed a bit of a complaint because that guy was really rude, and I explained that it was kind of bull that I was kicked off the ride, but this child who also didn't get the green tab wasn't kicked off. And again, I understand it's a safety issue, but the safety issue should apply to everybody across the board the same way. And the woman completely agreed. She understood. She was like really sweet and understanding. She actually gave us a little a couple of passes to go through the fast pass and any ride we chose for that day, one ride for that day. So I appreciated her help. She said a manager would call. He never did. I'm not surprised. But again, she was really nice about it. So it is what it is. After that, I was, of course, clearly, I guess, intimidated and worried and scared that I wouldn't fit on any other rides. But my mother and I, went for most of the 3D and 4D rides after that. We went on the Simpsons ride. That was really easy to get on. We went on Fast and Furious and Transformers and Despicable Me and Shrek. And all of those were super easy to get on, very accessible, especially Shrek, because there are no bars, there's no seat belts, there's nothing like that. You literally just sit in a chair and enjoy a movie for about 15 minutes. And it was such a super cute movie. Like, that's how we ended our day. It was great. I loved it. The only 3D/4D ride that we did go on that was a little bit of an issue was the Jimmy Fallon one. So that one is a seatbelt that you have to reach over here, pull it out, and then wrap it around on your left side. So I pulled mine out as far as it would go, and it was barely reaching. And like I said, I do have a very low hanging belly, so I think that was why. But fortunately, I was able to like kind of adjust my midsection to get it so it would fit. And it did take me a couple of minutes to actually find the section over here to clip it into. It was kind of a pain, and it wasn't just me, because my mother also had a huge problem with it. I had to actually clip it in for her because she couldn't get it in at all, and I could tell she was starting to panic because they kept doing a countdown like, oh, 30 seconds, we're gonna start, 30 seconds, we're gonna start. So she didn't think she was gonna get it done in time, and then she was gonna get kicked off the ride. Fortunately, I found it for her. But it wasn't just a plus size issue. I think it's just an issue with the ride, to be honest, because there was a woman in front of us who was very petite, and she couldn't get hers adjusted either. And they actually had to stop repeatedly to make sure that hers was buckled in properly. So just be aware of that. That can be an issue for both plus size people, people with mobility issues, anything like that. It's just a bit of a pain. And honestly, I didn't think it was really worth the hassle. Like, it wasn't that great, in my opinion. Strictly my opinion. Again, checking my list to see what else. I did not go on Hagrid's Magical Creature Ride because they had a 90-minute wait for it. And we already had to leave by 5 o'clock because they had the Halloween special that day, for that month rather, for October. And so I was like, I'm not wasting an hour and a half on this. So I didn't check that out. I didn't even test the seats. I'm sorry, I can't give any information on that one. The Hogwarts Express is really easy to ride and very family friendly, very plus size friendly. When we went to Island of Adventure, there was 5 people in our cabin. We had plenty of room. On the way back, there were 8 people, which is, I believe, the max that you can fit in a cabin. And it wasn't like we were sitting on top of each other, but it was definitely a little snug, and we had to make fast friends with our partners in our group. So just be aware of that as well. I did go on the Flight of the Hippogriff, which I really liked. I really enjoyed. It was only about 60 seconds though. It was a really quick ride, but the wait was also super fast. It was under 5 minutes. And I sat all the way in the very front by myself. I had the whole section to myself. Excuse me, itchy nose. And I pulled the bar down, and it was not as far down as I would have liked it to feel secure, but it was good enough for me to ride the ride. Fortunately, on the way up, I was leaned back. There was some more weight, just redistribution. I was able to pull the bar down one more latch, and I felt super secure after that. And I didn't have to worry about that. I didn't have to stress about that at all. And like I said, it was a really fun ride. My favorite ride of the entire day, though, by far, was Revenge of the Mummy. And again, this is a ride I did test out front. They have it's the ones that go over your head, and there was a gentleman there who was helping, and he had offered that if I wanted a more comfortable ride, that I ask for the back seat. So I was like, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. So I did get in line, waited in line. I didn't have to ask for the back seat. Fortunately, they just sat me back there. And on that ride, you do need 3 clicks. I was able to get 6 or 7 easily, and it was so much fun. My favorite ride by far of the day. Again, if you are bigger, I I fully believe that you will be able to fit on that ride. Just ask for the back seat to be safe. Some other rides we checked out were, oh, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. So that one I was dying to go on, but I was obviously worried after the Gringotts experience. They do have the tester seat out front, and there was a woman actually there who was helping us. And you pull it down over, I got my 2 clicks right away, but then she was like, okay, relax. And then she pushed it on a 3rd click. She was like, can you handle that for 5 minutes comfortably? And I'm like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. She's like, okay, cool, you're good to go. So my mother did the same thing, had the exact same experience. We go through, we wait in line, and then I see the wait police, I guess, standing over on our side, 2 very thin young girls, and they look at us, look us up and down literally, and then start whispering to each other, and then proceed to follow us as we're moving up through the line until we get to the gate to get on the ride. And they're like, you know, we have a seat right here, you need to test it. And I'm like, no, we tested the seats out front. And again, completely night and day. They were very rude to start with, and as soon as I said, no, we tested the seats outside, she gave us the go-ahead, and they were like, oh, okay, good job, you know, you're on top of your game. And I'm like, you were just super rude, what's going on here? Like, I kind of got the feeling like they want to be like, haha, gotcha, you need to get out of line. Like, I don't know if that's how it was, but that's kind of how I was made to feel. I don't know. I do not recommend this ride for anyone with mobility issues, with walking, with people who can't walk, I guess in a fast-paced manner, or if you're uneasy on your feet, because the floor does move pretty rapidly, as do the seats, and you need to walk across the moving floor to get onto the moving seats, and it's kind of a pain, and I could imagine it would be a bigger issue if you do have mobility issues. Well, anyway, I get in, I pull it down, I'm only getting 2 clicks. And immediately I start panicking as I'm fighting to get that 3rd click. Fortunately, the guy there, super nice, super sweet, comes over, and he could tell I was kind of panicking. He's like, just relax, I got this. I relaxed. He pushed it in a 3rd one. He's like, are you gonna be good for the ride? I'm like, yep, I am good, thank you. And so my mother and I both went on it. We had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. And yeah, I appreciated that those people were much more understanding than the Gringotts people. And I'm just going to take a quick look to see if I forgot anything. I don't think I did. Oh, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. So that one, I did not even come close to fitting on. I tested the tester seat. It kind of has an armrest that sticks out on your left, and you need to pull it across your waist to the right. Mine only got about halfway, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna fight it. I got off, no problem, and continued on with my day. So just be aware that they do have the tester seats outside. Try to take full advantage of them if you can. Of course, in my situation, they're not always 100% accurate, but they could definitely save some embarrassment or worry or stress if you do try to take advantage of them. Aside from all that, if you are able to save up the money and experience it, just try to have fun, be in the moment, especially if you're going to the Wizarding World, because it's so much fun. It transports you into an entirely different world, an entirely different time, and I had a blast. And if you guys decide to go, I hope you have a blast too. Leave your comments below. Let me know how you did. If you have any questions whatsoever, leave them below as well, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. Have fun, guys. Bye.